Northwest Wrestling fans, welcome to the Square Circle's Greatest Matches. I am your host, Lone Wolf Brian Bennett, and here is my host, just like I promised, Playboy Buddy Rose. And Buddy Rose, I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to ask you some questions that you've probably been asked before. I'm going to dig a little bit deeper than anybody else has before.
Is he guilty or not? Is O.J. guilty or is he innocent? The jury's in deliberations at the time of this taping right now. I just put you on the spot. Nobody puts Playboy Buddy Rose on the spot. So go ahead, shoot.
Well, isn't it kind of obvious? O.J., of course.
I don't know.
All the evidence points to him.
Well, I think he's going to walk or a hung jury.
Really?
Yep, and I'm never wrong.
What about the closing statements by Marcia Clark? Weren't they kind of...
What about the closing statements by Johnny Cochran? Weren't they kind of...
I thought they were kind of gibberish, really.
I thought they were great.
Okay, well, let's talk about wrestling now.
All right. I love Johnny Cochran as a manager, by the way. Go ahead.
Really? Okay.
Sure.
Well, I want to ask you a couple questions, just like in the beginning. Who were you trained by, and what year did you start, and what state was it that you got trained?
3 questions at the same time.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. No, Brian, I want to say it's a pleasure to be on your show, for being your first guest, your first show, and I hope to be on some other shows and keep everybody in check in the Northwest, more or less, because when things get out of order, I straighten them out. As you know, I do a sports talk show on KKEY,
Definitely.
11:50 a.m. every Wednesday morning from 6 to 7. You've called me a couple times, right?
More than a
And
couple.
I'm still standing, and all the rest of them are gone, right?
Damn right.
Okay, well, anyway, where I started professional wrestling in 1972, I was trained by Vern Gagne in Minneapolis. I grew up in Minneapolis, too, by the way. Then I lived in Las Vegas for a little while. That's why I say I'm from Las Vegas when I wrestle. But there were about 50 guys trying out, and 47 of them quit the first day.
Really?
So Chris Taylor, who died of phlebitis at the age of 27, who was in the 72 Munich Olympics, the heavyweight wrestler representing the United States, he passed away. God rest his soul. Sergeant Slaughter and myself made it that year in professional wrestling.
Didn't Ricky Steamboat and Ric Flair graduate the year
Ricky
before?
Steamboat was after me.
Oh, okay.
He was Dick. His real name's Dick Blood. It was Ricky Steamboat was after me, but before was Ric Flair.
Monday in Longview, Seattle, Wednesday, Thursday, Salem, Friday, Eugene. This man will put the heavyweight title of the world on the line, and especially next Tuesday here against Buddy Rose. Ric Flair.
They tell me that Buddy Rose is a real big deal in this part of the country. He's a real man. Not real popular with the people, but a real hometown man. A little country like most of the people around here, so basically they understand him. Now, he had the nerve to get in the ring a little while ago with the world champion and tell everybody here, and let's face it, he wasn't talking to Hacksaw Sawyer, he was talking to me. He told me that if he didn't beat me for this 10 pounds of gold, that he was going to pack his bags and go. You better learn something right away, my friend. This is my interview time. And if you don't want to pack your bags tonight, you'll stand behind Mr. Owens. If you remember, I want my own referee. Don Owens said, the only fair way, if you'll give me this match, is we'll pull it out of a hat. Bonema, you pull. All 8 wrestlers put their name in the hat. You pull out the name, and that man will be the referee of the match. And then, Flair, you're going to lose your title.
Just a minute. The only reason why I'm going to go for this is because you volunteered to leave in case you don't win the World Championship.
Who's the referee? Kurt Hennig is the referee. Don't tell me! Don't you tell me! Flair, I'm giving it everything I got! I told you a minute ago, to you it's Mr. Flair. And brother, these people don't know a lot about me. They know I make a lot of money, and I'll bring you a first-class ticket on any airline you want Tuesday night. Understand that? Everything is on the line Tuesday night. If I don't win, I'll leave. But I'll tell you what, that's how sure I am. You people, Tuesday night will witness the World's Heavyweight Championship change hands. Flair, we started together and we'll end it together. But you're going to leave without that belt, and I'm going to defend it from here on out after Tuesday night. This is the ultimate. I'm not going to quit. The biggest match in my 6 years here, and you people will see me win that title.
and I promise you that will happen.
Well, I just promise you that something's going to happen, and it'll be history in the making. Frank Bonham bidding you. Good night, everybody.
And I'll still win anyway.
So what was the first promoter and first promotion that you worked for?
Oh, and Jim Brunzell, by the way, that was another wrestler out of that. And Khosrow Vaziri, the Iron Sheik.
Yeah,
the first
yeah.
one. Okay, who was the first promoter?
Yeah.
Vern Gagne.
And-
Wally Carbo out of Minneapolis.
So who was the first guy you
Sergeant
wrestled?
Slaughter. But his real name then was Bob Remus.
Okay.
And then,
So he didn't have the Sergeant Slaughter thing going on?
no, not at that
Okay.
time. He got it a few years later. But
Okay.
we had a 15-minute draw in Rice Lake, Wisconsin.
Really?
I still remember. We drove there together. We rode there together, and it was a 15-minute draw. And the main event that night was Ivan Koloff against Ken Patera.
Oh, really?
And Ken Patera, that was another one out of that first camp.
So so this was kind of, you guys were kind of friends at this
Oh,
point.
yeah. We were trained together. We weren't enemies or
Yeah.
anything. So, I mean, it's like Vern Gagne said that morning. He says, you guys are ready? And he says, you're booked tonight in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. We are? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You got to drive there. It was only about an 80-mile drive from Minneapolis, but we drove there and went and Rob Remus was a roofer at the time. We went in his truck. It was kind of weird. We went there and we wrestled, and we just tried all the different holds we had learned on each other and did the best we could, who could execute them the best. And we were kind of at a tie at that time, and it was a 15-minute draw.
So in the older days, in the 70s, did you do a lot more driving then?
Wait a minute, slow down. I know I'm talking to a young host here, and there are guys behind the camera here. The older days
Well,
to
you know,
me are the 30s,
70s,
40s, and 50s. Those are
Okay.
the older days.
Well, the
it
older
was modern
days are-
times then,
okay, well,
but now it's even more. Now it's computers and video games.
Well,
and this.
Yeah, well, in the older days.
You notice I'm the only one standing in that ring?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Okay.
But in the 70s. Say.
Okay, well, that's older days for
Yeah,
me.
you remind me of my daughters. You know, my daughter's 18. How old are you?
I am 19.
You didn't see my daughter, did you? What'd she tell me?
Well, why would I say if I did? I got Playboy Buddy Rose, 350 pounds.
Yeah, I could be your future father-in-law. That was a little hard to say.
Okay, well.
Okay, so go ahead. What about the 70s you want to know?
Well, I was just saying, did you do a lot more driving then? Because I know a lot of wrestlers do a lot more flying these days.
Yeah, because it was like 20 territories in the United States, and you basically wrestled in one territory at that time when there were 20 territories. And I was in the AWA. We had to fly to Denver. It was a little far to drive there. We flew to Denver. We flew to Omaha. The AWA office had a private plane, but we did fly to some of the shots that were like Chicago. We did drive that a couple times. In Milwaukee, we flew. I mean, it wasn't that much. I can still remember it was only a $40 round trip to Chicago or Milwaukee, and that was an hour flight. I mean, now it'd be over 100 and some.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
So how far was it into your AWA days that you captured the championship with Doug Summers?
Days. I like days. Okay, now, when you say Doug Summers, that came about 13 years later. I'd won a lot of titles before then, but I started in late 72, early 73, but went back to the AWA after 2 years of being in 1970. Let's start over again, okay? 73 to 75. Well, if you want me to jump
ahead.
years ahead to the modern times as you'd see it. No, what I'm saying is 1973 to 75, I was in the AWA. Then I went to Texas. That's the NWA at the time. And do they spray in here? Because a bug just flew over by your shoulder there and landed, but that's all right.
I must have been smelling you, big buddy.
If it was, it'd be a butterfly then.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so anyway, I wrestled. Then I went to Texas, which is the NWA from 75 to in 1975 for about a year, and then a year and a half, and I came here in August of 76 in the Northwest, and I've lived here ever since. I'm one of the blessed wrestlers, professional wrestling, that can say that I went to territory and was able to stay there the rest of my life. Even though I wrestled for the WWF, the NWA, the AWA, I went back to all of them again. I still made my home here and was able to fly in and out, which a lot of wrestlers, nobody in the Northwest I can say was able to do that.
Yeah.
In just a moment, we're going to see Playboy Buddy Rose and the Ripper Oliver in action in the ring as a tag team combination. And, gentlemen, I understand that you've just arrived from the west coast of the country.
Well, you see, they're coming from the north, they're coming from the south, they're coming from the east, and they're coming from the west. And the best is coming from the west. Playboy Buddy Rose and Rick Oliver are going after the $25,000, and we're going after those World Tag Team Championships. As you know, in professional wrestling, we are the best that wrestling has to offer. It was the San Francisco 49ers in football, West Coast World Champions. It was the Los Angeles Dodgers in baseball, West Coast World Champions. And it's going to be Playboy Buddy Rose and Rick Oliver, West Coast World Champions. Right, Rick?
That's Rose, and Rose caught him coming off the ropes. Quick body slam. Horner breaks it up and charges in again, retaliates in kind. And so Mr. Rose suddenly finds himself fighting the canvas. A moment we're beginning to see here in this case of Mr. Rose, like you said, his element of surprise has been working for him here on Tim's.
Other than myself, there's no one that could analyze this, you see. And other than myself, there's no one that could beat Buddy Rose. And Buddy Rose likes to think he could win me. Look at them, though. Is he not tenacious? Is he not always on the attack?
That he is. Backbreaker now on Tim's and closes in once again.
With a wing lock, Roddy Piper taking him into the corner is Rose. And Wiskowski trips. Wiskowski reached in, grabbed the foot of Piper. He fell forward and Rose after him. Wiskowski went into that corner. Piper outside. And it's Wiskowski grabbing him by the hair and putting him back in. And Wiskowski again pushing him back in. And Starr comes up now and says, just push him back in. Let's not be grabbing him by the hair and throwing him back in. Piper now getting much the worse of it, as we've had the first situation of a man outside the ring. A count of 2 and almost 3 by Rose on Piper. Piper now looked out and took a wild swing at Wiskowski. Drop kick miss. Buddy Rose showing the experience that he has gained in a hurry. Thrown outside the ring. Now Piper hauled outside by Rose. Both battlers outside the ring, going around the wrestlers, coming around. They're saying, what do we... They don't want to step in and break it up. They're trying to get both men back into the ring. Piper is back in. Rose, watch out, Wiskowski is in the ring. Wiskowski is in the ring. Sandy Barr's back is turned. Wiskowski is in the ring, laying it on Piper, while Rose is fighting the wrestlers. And out of the crowd, here comes Brooks. Killer, bad news, Brooks, with his dog chain. This place is going wild. Wild-eyed Brooks with his chain and collar is in there. Rose is thrown back in.
Okay, but how did you hook up with Doug Summers?
Okay,
Was
yeah,
just
we'll jump
because
to
you were
86.
Okay, yeah.
I went
jump
back to the
now.
AWA.
Right. Okay.
I still living out here in the Northwest in Vancouver, Washington, with my wife. But no, I went back to the AWA and wrestled for Vern Gagne again, and Doug Summers was there, and I was there, and we teamed up a few matches, went against the Midnight Rockers a lot of times on a lot of occasions.
Oh, yeah.
ESPN was real big at the time, modern times.
Oh, yeah.
And ESPN is a big station now. And I'd already wrestled on USA and WWF in 82, 83. You just skip right past WWF in the good old days.
Okay.
Okay. And so, anyway, no, Doug and I became World Tag Team Champions. We defeated Mr. Perfect's Kurt Hennig and Scott Hall, who now goes as Razor Ramon.
Razor Ramon. So
I mean, these guys got so many different names. I can't say that for Mr. Perfect. That was the only other name he ever had. But a lot of wrestlers are, like the Big Boss Man. You call him the Big Lost Man because you don't know who he is.
Oh, yeah, Big Boss Man, Big Bubba Rogers.
Only a few wrestlers, selected wrestlers, gifted wrestlers are able to say they were able to keep the same names.
Oh, yeah, look how many Scott Hall's gone through. Razor Ramon,
Right.
Diamond Stud.
Right.
The list goes on and on.
That's
man.
right.
But you've always been Playboy Buddy Rose, though.
Yep, the one and only. Right here with you.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be checking out a match here. It's from Japan.
What match is this now?
This is the match.
I had a lot of matches in Japan.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
I was there, a lot of different occasions.
Okay, let me narrow it down, though.
Okay.
Okay, Hulk Hogan just won the WWF World title for
Hulk
the Iron
Hogan.
Machine. Yeah.
Okay.
And you teamed up with them in Japan.
Me and Hulk Hogan together? Yeah. Nobody's going to believe that.
Well, we're about to show them right now.
We got it on tape.
And
who are they wrestling?
I know it's Tatsumi Fujinami.
You're right. Fujinami and Yatsu. I remember the match.
Yes. And And you were with Hulk Hogan, and
this is Okinawa, Japan, I bet.
Was it just a few days after he won the world title?
Just after he won the World Wrestling Federation title, 1983.
Okay. Well,
early 84.
Well, without any further ado, let's go to it.
Let's go.
を埋め尽くしました沖縄のファンの間にひときわこの大きなハルク・ホーガンの姿が映りました。日本風のハッピーを身にさてここで再び82年のミスインターナショナル沖縄代表、さらには来年度のミスインターナショナル沖縄、さらに来るたびにね、そのすごい迫力を増してきますね。すごい投げ技ですよ。今の投げにしましても何気ないボディスラムでありますが、デッドリードライブ2メートル間のパワーファイト、猛攻が炸裂しています。猪木欠場によりますルーツ部隊の活躍、猪木の弁によりますと10年間自分が使ってきたそうですね。おっと藤波がホーガンに捕まるか、バディローズが中に入ります。さあ余裕を持った試合展開、ハルク・ホーガン、そしてバディローズ、ホーガンの先導うまいリードによりまして、このバディローズもかなりの速い連携を使っています。さあ藤波がバディローズに攻撃の照準を絞るか、ロープに思い切って振ったがバディローズがこれはショルダーアタックが変わっている。迎え撃つ藤波、ドロップキック1センチ突き上げるようにこの辺はやつもうまい。山本さん、5月の9日佐賀スポーツセンターにおいて藤波ブッチャーの一騎打ちがあった、反則とはいえ藤波は反則勝ちをですねブッチャーに収めた、おっとクロスライン、10番勝負で敗れた藤波、ブッチャーに反則勝ちをした、勝ちは勝ち、自信になるんじゃないですか。
いや、これはもう十分ありますよ。ただね、やはりそこは砲丸攻略ですね、まず勝っていることを考えればね、これはもう徹底的にローズ狙いですね。
そうですね。さあ安がバディローズを狙った、大きく吹っ飛びました。バディローズの巨体、安が一過性に攻めて、安の動きもだいぶヘビー級なうまい動きを見せてまいりましたが、ギロチンドロップがかわされています。山本さん、新日本プロレスの核弾頭として連日砲丸を一過性に攻め立てる安が砲丸を仕留めるか、思い切って身が回るところ、カウンターのキック、砲丸の彫刻の美を連想させるような素晴らしいシェイプアップされた肉体、上半身が隆起している。ロープに飛ぶアクスボンバー、アクスボンバー、恐怖のまさがり殺法、恐怖のまさがり殺法が出た。やつがキャンバスに沈んだ、やつが沖縄の海に接触、やつが沖縄の海に沈んでしまった。ブルーのキャンバスに沈んだやつ、恐怖のまさがり殺法、ハルク・ホーガン自信満々の表情、恐怖のまさがり殺法、恐怖の斧、アクスボンバーによりまして八つ吉明を務めました山本。
Now, Buddy Rose, that was a great match. That was in 1984, correct?
Approximately around that time.
And you were actually playing by the rules in the WWF then. You weren't breaking the rules like you were in Portland, so to speak.
Basically, right? I had just left the WWF, come back to the Northwest, the most hated guy in the Northwest ever, and Hulk Hogan was a so-called good guy in the WWF who just won the title. Mm-hmm. But when you're over in Japan and you're fighting for all that money and prestige, they teamed Hulk Hogan and myself up, and we were a formidable team.
And so, but the roles were kind of reversed in Japan, right?
Well, you go to Japan, it's like when you go over there, you're automatically hated because you're an American, and the Japanese cheer their own. Yeah, but you can't blame them.
Oh, of course, yeah, but they have like really respectful crowds there also, right? They're really quiet, huh?
Well, they're quiet in the way they give respect. They observe the matches. Same in baseball or anything. It's just really quiet. You can hear a pin drop. But they cheer like a great move or something, or they cheer the winner or the loser. But or they boo the losers or whatever they want to do. It's just really weird over there. Just really quiet kind of people like that. And when you're wrestling, it's just not. Here people scream out of their seats the whole match usually. But over there, it's a lot different.
But I want to ask you a question, what do you think...
That's what I'm here for.
Okay. What was your best match or that you think you've ever wrestled?
All my matches were my best matches.
Okay, all right.
I mean, because a lot of people would say, I like this match, I'm sorry, I gave you a lot of good matches. What can I say?
I should have expected that.
Well, I did. Okay. I did. I always gave 100% every time I got out there. All right. But he's a hell of a wrestler. And God rest his soul, he's gone now, but... one of the greatest eighth wonders of the world.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, what would you say about Roddy Piper and your feud with him?
A lot of feuds with Roddy Piper. Great wrestler too. I can't knock that. But I'll say this: he talks about he only got pinned one time. Oh, I've seen him get pinned a few times by myself. I pinned him a lot of times in the Northwest, and I ran him out of the Northwest. And then he lost a couple other times throughout the world. I mean, that's not the point though. The thing is, Roddy Piper is a great wrestler, very good. Athlete, and was one of the greatest right now he's retired from professional wrestling, doing movies, and good luck to him and what he does, But the bottom line is I'm the one that ran him out of the Northwest, and he's never been able to get over that.
I forget the match that you had with him in the Coliseum. It was the largest record crowd in the Coliseum,
Yeah,
was it not?
yeah, it was about $120,000 house, if that means anything to anybody. And it was sold out, and the biggest crowd in the history for a sporting event as far as boxing or wrestling.
And that
at the
was a cage
Coliseum.
match, huh?
No, it wasn't a cage. We just had a regular match. Here's the funny thing about it, Roddy. I heard him. He had a radio show too. Had, keyword had, and he doesn't have it now. But he's real busy doing movies. He said that they needed to sell a product on there and try to get some sponsors with a radio show, and so he's going to step aside for a while. The 2 wrestling shows were on there, and they're gone. I'm still going. I'm still standing, just like him in that squared circle right here in the Dow. But the bottom line is this. He said he was the most hated wrestler at one time in the world of professional wrestling, United States, anywhere. And he said that nobody had ever topped that. Well, I topped it because when he was in New York and he did that thing to Cyndi Lauper and all those celebrities, he said when he came back here, he told Don Owens that he says, I'm afraid I'm going to get booed when I wrestled Buddy Rose. He said, I don't think so, Don said. And when we went into the ring and that night in the Coliseum, I had a standing ovation of boos. He had a standing ovation of cheers. They didn't care what he did back there. I was still the most hated wrestler in wrestling, and he couldn't top it. And
you're proud
I don't know
of it.
why he went on the radio and said that he was the most hated.
And you're proud of that, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I did my job.
I remember you saying one time that a certain promoter, won't mention his name, we don't want to get into any bad
Why?
things. Well, okay, I'll say it. Ron Barber.
I don't mind.
Okay.
Loser.
Yeah, okay.
I beat him in everything I did. But go ahead. I got something to say about that.
Yeah, well, we were in the locker room, and I heard Ron Barber going, "Oh, buddy, I don't know. Those guys, they really hate you. They just boo you. You said I wouldn't have it any other way."
Right. I wouldn't have it. You remember that?
Oh, definitely.
Here's what's funny. When this is being filmed, can we say the date we're filming this before it's going to be?
Oh, sure.
What's the date today?
The 29th of September, I believe.
Right. It's on a Friday night, right?
Friday night.
Okay. I just want to say yesterday the Cubs played in the afternoon against Houston. I mean, the Cubs are still in it at this time. They're not mathematically eliminated yet. I'm a big baseball fan, football fan. I'm waiting for the playoffs. The bottom line, I just want to say this real quick. A fan ran onto the field and went after Randy Myers from Vancouver, Washington, where I live.
Yeah.
And did you see that or hear about that? And Randy Myers said the look in his eye, I could tell he was going to do something. And Randy Myers hit him with a left hook, hit him with a right, knocked him down, was on top of him. They had to pull Randy off him. Guy never did nothing, but he was going like he was going to reach in his pocket or trying to do something. He didn't know if he had a knife or a gun. Randy Myers, they arrested the guy, the fan that jumped in. I mean, he had no business doing it. Arrested him, and he got out on bail, but the case is still pending. Same as mine, where the promoter jumped in the ring because he got caught up in the action. And he hit Moondog Moretti, and then he tried to come after me and threaten me and was saying, I can't say the words on here that he said. But the bottom line is we won that case, and right now they're appealing it, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Every time he has to fork out money to a lawyer, I'm happy.
Yeah.
But the justice will be served, and no matter how long it takes, if it takes another day or another week or another year or another month, whatever it takes, I'm happy.
Okay. And let me ask you, who was your favorite promoter to work for?
Don Owens is one of them. Don Owens, and all of them were good though. I liked them all. I made a lot of money with all of them, and the bottom line is the promoter can only do so much. The wrestler has to do the rest. You go into that squared circle, you go in the interviews, you do what you can to tell those people what you believe in and what you're going to do to your opponent, and use all the charisma you can to try to sell yourself to those people and try to get the people to come to that stadium or building that night that you're going to be wrestling in. And then they got to pay you by a percentage of that house or guarantee whatever you work out with the promoter.
Okay.
But they're all good to me, but I was good to them too.
How was it working for Vince McMahon? Did he treat you good?
Yeah.
This Wednesday night, September the 29th, the Seattle Center Arena, the setting for the World's Championship. The matchup between Ric Flair and our very next guest, Playboy Buddy Rose, who has indeed conquered every wrestler, every arena, the toast to the coast as it relates to the West Coast, Madison Square Garden, your home, and now you're right back in Seattle.
That's right. I said I wasn't going to wrestle in Seattle again unless I got a World's Heavyweight Championship match with Ric Flair. You people in the Seattle Center Arena know my reputation. I back up what I say. I've won all the big matches, and nobody has defeated or ran out the Playboy from the West Coast. The Playboy left on his own. Thank God airplanes, I can make it back and forth in 5 hours nonstop. And the Playboy is going to make it there in the Seattle Center Arena, and I am going to defeat Ric Flair in the squared circle in front of a sellout crowd in that Seattle Center Arena. I know it's going to be sold out. I know there's going to be a lot of people. Because why? Because they're going to witness the championship change hands. When they get in their cars and they drive off and leave the Seattle Center Arena, they're going to say, I can't believe it. Buddy Rose is the new world's heavyweight champion. I will be number one. I will be the world's heavyweight champion. And Ric Flair, you will be all through. Your reign as champion will be over. And then I understand that Roddy Piper will be in the Seattle Center Arena on October the 13th. And I was told if I defeat Ric Flair that I have to defend that World's Heavyweight Championship against Roddy Piper. Piper, you can plan on a World's Heavyweight Championship match because I'm going to defeat Flair, and I will be back in Seattle 2 weeks later, and I'll defend it against you, and I'll defend it against anybody because that's the type champion I'm going to be. A first-class champion, and you people know what a first-class stud I am, and I'm going to be number one. Be ready, Piper, after I defeat Flair. Flair, you're going down. I'm going to be the champion.
So there we have it from the number one contender, Playboy Buddy Rose. No doubt looking forward to his opportunity to face the world champion, Ric Flair, as wrestling returns to Seattle this Wednesday night.
Vince McMahon's treated a lot of... Well, you know, you bring that up. That's funny. Jesse Ventura just had a lawsuit, won $1 million in a lawsuit against Vince McMahon.
Was it because of tapes or something like that?
Yeah, Vince gets on his high horse a few times, and, you know, he tries to take a stand with some of the wrestlers. He's finding out you just can't push the wrestlers around anymore, and including myself, Ron. Go ahead. Okay. I had to get that in.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I mean, you can't.
Yeah. Okay, well then... what was that lawsuit? Was it because of tapes that he did commentary on, but he didn't get like
they had a falling out, and he did those videotapes that you get in video stores. I'm on some of them too myself. A lot of the wrestlers across the country are on them, and you get a kickback from them. You know, and what he did was Jesse was a commentator on some of them, and he wanted a kickback, and Vince said, "I'll give you so much." He says, "No, I want a percentage." And they said, "No." And it happened about 4 or 5 years ago. This lawsuit, and look at he won $1 million plus interest.
So he's
So, go ahead.
There it is.
There it is. I could have got you.
No, I had a shower today. I don't know about you. Okay, but so it's safe to say that he probably won't be working for Vince McMahon anymore.
He doesn't care. He doesn't need it.
Yeah.
A lot of us can call our own shots. Huh?
He's like doing beer commercials right down.
He was.
Really?
Yeah. Is this an interview about Jesse or myself?
Oh, I was just wondering.
I mean, I could tell you for an hour about Jesse.
Okay.
All good and all bad, whatever you want.
Okay, we'll talk. We'll stick to Playboy Buddy Rose tonight.
And you'll be a better commentator that way.
Okay. Well, I hope so. You know what I mean.
I like you, kid.
Okay. Good deal.
All right.
That's all I really care about then. But. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Squirt Souls Greatest Matches. I'm your host, Brian Bennett, here with our very special guest, Playboy Buddy Rose.
Special being the key word. What did you just call this show?
Squirt Souls Greatest Matches.
Say it again.
Squirt Circle's Greatest Matches. Say that 10 times for me.
You say it.
Okay.
I want to thank the crew for bringing in me some water, and I appreciate it very much, Brian.
So how did you get that name Playboy Buddy Rose from being with a lot of girls? Jesus, buddy.
What's wrong with that water? It's not the question you just had me. That's not tough. Yeah, it's from being with a lot of girls.
All of us in paradise. And who are all of us? You're looking at it, the Playboy, Buddy Rose, and his sweet little mud pies from California. And girls, are we having a good time?
We're having a wonderful time, buddy.
Are you having a good time, Brooke?
Fantastic.
All the women that hang around the Playboy have a good time, and they all go first class. And don't stop, that feels good. All right. The Playboy, Buddy Rose, first class all the way. You know, in professional wrestling, to be the best, you have to be a winner. And that's exactly what I am. I am a winner. I am championship caliber. I am in the top 10 of the highest paid professional wrestlers in professional wrestling. And when you are a winner, you can live this style. The style of first class only. Look at it. Waikiki Beach in Honolulu. All you people are back there in the mainland, and you wish you were me. You wish you were here. Oh, that feels good. You wish you were here. You wish you had my money. You wish you had this body. You wish you had my women, but you can't have it because you're not me.
What's in that water?
It's water.
Jeez.
H2O, you know what I'm saying?
Jeez, that's too much. Go ahead.
Well, let's fire the guy who got that water right now, you know?
It's all right.
Pink slip in the mail, you know what I mean?
So how did I get the name Playboy?
Yeah.
From being with a lot of girls.
Really?
From a lot of girls wanting to be with the Playboy.
Okay. But you're married now.
That's right. I am married. Oh, that's right. I got to admit, that's a very good question. Yes. But I mean, that's how I got the name before I got married.
But
my wife understands.
Okay, but we'll leave that alone.
That's right.
All right, okay.
When I go home, I'm just Buddy.
All right.
Buddy.
And then when you're in matches, then you are Playboy.
I'm Playboy again.
All right.
But I draw the line now.
Okay. So you're not as wild as you used to be, though.
Wild?
Yeah.
I call it wild, call it whatever you want. I was 24/7 back in the 70s and 80s. And still could be if I wanted to be, but my wife's the lucky one now.
Okay. Well, what do you think about the state of professional wrestling in a whole, like the WCW and the WWF? I mean, it's not like it was in the old days. I mean, there's lights and there's more of it's like a light show and wrestling, and it's
right.
I mean, some would even call the WCW right now basically a cartoon show, you know.
Yeah, I think wrestling's turned into, in some territories, wrestlers have turned into cartoon characters. I think they spoon feed the fans now. Personally, I like it when it was just the lights, the people.
Yeah.
It was dark all around the people.
Definitely.
The lights right on that squared circle when they came in and saw that ring, just like you do right here. And then all of a sudden, they announce the wrestlers and they're coming out of the dressing room, they're coming up into the ring, and then just wrestling right there. But now they're spoon feeding them. They're giving them, lightning rods, and they're giving them sparklers and fireworks, which is fine. I mean, it's the 90s. I understand that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not set in the old ways or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, old days.
The old days
are
70s,
40s, 50s, and 60s to me. But I just want to say that, no, I think they spoon feed the people personally, and the real stars are the wrestlers.
And it seems like most times, that I wouldn't say most times, but some of the time, the light show that they have and the setup they have is more impressive than the wrestling. I mean, it seems like the quality of wrestling, like those days are back behind us. Even though there wasn't that long ago, the wrestling was a higher quality than it was today. You know what I mean?
There's an old saying that I'll never forget, and a few wrestlers understand this, and a lot of wrestlers don't. And I don't usually educate the younger wrestlers or the wrestlers that think they know it all nowadays, but I'll give a little secret out today, and that is, a promoter used to come up and say, I made you who you are today. And I'd look back and I'd say, you made me? I'm sorry, but he said TV made me and everything. I'd say, I'm sorry, but I made your TV. Put that ring up, put the cameras on the ring, and don't have any wrestlers come in there and see how many people watch your television every week.
Yeah, really.
Right? To Don Owens or Vince McMahon or any of them. How many will watch? None. But if you have two wrestlers in there, doesn't mean they're still going to watch, but what kind of wrestlers are going to catch the eye of the fan and keep their interest week in and week out like a soap opera and keep them coming and watching to the matches? And I was one of those few gifted wrestlers that was lucky enough to do that.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about, personally, I think it's an atrocity, with this Dungeon of Doom thing. I think it's, to me, I've never really liked Hulk Hogan.
Right.
I mean, he wrestles the same match every time he gets in the ring.
I think he does because he wins every time that way too. I know what you're saying. Ric Flair does too.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, they do.
But
I never try to give anybody the same match in my life. Sometimes I do a lot of the same moves, but you see a lot of the same stuff over and over and over. But I always try to give them variety interviews, variety matches, and I'm seeing the same interviews and same matches over and over again. And I guess they just they ran the gauntlet and they can't think of nothing new. I've never ran into that problem.
Yeah, but what do you think what's better now, WWF or WCW?
WCW personally. It's more of the baby boom wrestlers. WWF is more of the younger wrestlers. The ones in the WWF right now, most of them are wrestling for peanuts. I mean, it's good money still. What, maybe 75 to 150,000. That's good money maybe to you, but it isn't good money compared to like the early 90s and 80s and 70s, what they were paying before. A lot more money. And then the WCW is giving out bigger guarantees, and Ted Turner, you know, his investments are going great right now, and his mergers and everything, and more or less they're signing bigger contracts to the baby boomers.
But
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, I got money.
Okay.
Okay.
But I heard Diesel got paid $1.5 million last year, or every year actually. I think that was his cut.
No, he didn't.
Really?
I think Bret Hart, when he was world champion, $850,000 2 years ago, and that was one of the lowest a world champion made. Hulk Hogan was up in the 10 million mark when he was with WWF, so they cut the pay a lot.
So did you actually see the lifestyles of rich and famous that Bret Hart was on when he was claiming to be the highest paid wrestler
today? He was
today?
In the WWF today.
But he was saying in all of wrestling.
That was still a real pay cut. He was still making almost $500,000 as one half of the world tag champions in the middle, in 86, 87, 88.
Yeah.
So, the pay's gone way down. Wrestlers are really not making that much in the WWF. Compared to WCW, a lot of wrestlers are making a ton of money in a short amount of time.
Okay, well, what do you think about all the talent that WCW has brought in, like Sabu and Chris Benoit?
I've only seen Sabu once.
Well,
there's a guy that's going nowhere fast.
Well, he he wrestled in Japan. He's got like a reputation.
And independent shows in ECW.
Yeah, being like really wild, breaking tables, doing flips.
Yeah, and his body's getting broken real quick.
Yeah, that's
He's
true.
only 20-some years old. He won't be wrestling when he's 30. So what kind of a career is that? He's got to smarten up, and he's got to get with the program as far as getting longevity in professional wrestling.
But my point is,
point?
Okay, my point is that they're bringing all this new talent. Like, actually, a couple of them have made their debut since the air date of this. It's Chris Benoit, I know they signed, and Dean Malenko. I know Scott Norton wrestled for once.
Norton was with the OPWF when I was trying to get going here, and I had it going good until the promoter screwed it up. Yeah, Moondog Moretti beat him. He got beat the first day on the WCW too. So and I haven't seen him since. No, that's Scott Flash. That's why they call him Flash. He flashes on and he flashes off. He's gone.
No. Okay. And what about? Well, my point I was trying to make is.
What's your point?
Do you think that WCW handled these wrestlers who are actually very exciting to watch? I mean, then you got Hulk Hogan, who's in all the main events, but it's clear that Sabu is a better wrestler than Hulk Hogan, and so is Dean Malenko.
I got my answer for you.
What?
Okay, I'm going to smarten the people up to another thing. The bottom line is box office money. When Ted Turner, all the promoters, all the promotions goes to count those tickets and count the money that comes in from the pay-per-views, Sabu doesn't draw a dime compared to Hulk Hogan. You put Hulk Hogan on the marquee, and God bless the guy, even if it seems like the same old match, the guy is still on the top of the mountain. A lot of people knock him, from the Roddy Pipers, even myself, we all have. But I'll tell you what, it's jealousy by a lot of other wrestlers. I'm not jealous. I'm really happy for him. He's the one that, when they count the money at the end of the night, Hulk Hogan, thank you very much. And he's the one that gets the most money. But he gets $330,000 per TV, just on a TV studio match. Or in those in Disney World. Yeah, $330,000 just for one night. If he makes an appearance on TV.
But
can you tell me other wrestlers that got that deal?
Oh no, okay, but
nobody ever will either.
But it's like Hulk Hogan, WCW's pay-per-views, like they boosted the first pay-per-view that was Bash at the Beach '94. That boosted, okay?
Yeah.
And then they all went down.
Okay.
They haven't been. WWF has higher pay-per-view.
How do you know that's the real facts? How do you know? From Dave Meltzer out of San Jose?
Well, yeah, but Moondog Moretti and all those guys have had conversations with them, and that's their answer to me when I ask them those questions. But I mean,
I don't think that's true. Okay, I tell you why it's not true.
Okay, why?
I'll tell you another personal inside thing. I'm on the inside in wrestling. You're on the outside, and you're on the outside looking in right now, and you're asking this guy on the inside to answer the questions on the outside for you.
Okay.
Follow that?
I follow
okay,
it.
The bottom line is this. WWF took away the frequent flyer miles from the wrestlers since I've left there, so it wasn't there. And I would never have wrestled there if they would have done that to me. I mean, the stupidest things. I mean, I'm nobody's, as they would say on Ricky Lake Hall in professional wrestling. But let me just say this. They took away that. They fired or laid off half the crew in the Greenwich, Connecticut, and back in the office back in the East Coast Stanford, where the WWF is. They laid off half because the money was down and everything was down everywhere, pay-per-views and house shows. WCW's come up. They're doing great. Everybody gets their benefits.
But WCW is more along, it's too poppy and it's too it's just, I don't know, it's too much flash. I mean, to me, it's just like a mockery of just like wrestling. Of like the old days, so to speak, you know. I mean, you got Brutus the Barber Beefcake running around with his face painted.
He's just riding on the coattails of Hulk Hogan.
He's running like a goof. I mean,
yes, he is. If you touch his face, he'd fall apart.
He's just yeah. I mean, it's just stupid. It's got this guy that they're calling Andre the Giant's son, who's not Andre the Giant's son. Actually, his name's Paul White.
Maybe he's an illegitimate son.
Okay.
And that's what.
But WWF. I mean, right now I think probably like the best wrestler, besides Playboy Buddy Rose, of course, would have to be like Shawn Michaels. I mean, don't you?
Yeah.
Would you?
I've wrestled Shawn a lot of times. Yeah.
You beat Shawn Michaels in.
And he beat us a few times too. But him and Marty Jannetty when they were the Midnight Rockers. But Shawn Michaels. Catch the name. If he walked down the street right now here, you would know. But I mean, if I walked down the street of Portland and he walked down the street of Portland, more people would say, "There's Playboy Buddy Rose."
Oh, definitely.
Who's Shawn Michaels? If you go, like, if I came in this college here or wherever we're at, and I said, "You know Shawn Michaels?" I go, "The wrestler from the Heartbreak Kid from the." Oh yeah, I know him.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's because you have such a big reputation in Portland.
That's why I'm on your show, and your show's gonna go right over the top with the numbers.
Oh, let's hope so.
Pretty soon you have sponsors wanting to be on, and we'll be making more money, and then you'll thank me for it, and then I'll wait for residual checks.
Okay, all right. Okay, but
I'm always thinking money.
Okay, well, what did you say about?
Somebody would say, "Why is he always thinking money? Why is he always thinking money?" Are we still on?
Yeah, we're still on.
Why is he always thinking money? Some people would say. Well, it's like that Midas commercial. The guy, the millionaire that's riding along, and they go, "Why do you come? If you're so rich, why do you come to Midas?" He says, "My boy," he said, "because it's so cheap to go to Midas." He says, "How do you think I got this way?" You get it?
Yeah, I'll get it.
Do you have any Grey Poupon?
Oh, no, not with me.
I
carry it with every.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Okay, but oh geez, all that gibberish. No, okay.
Your facility for the jocular repost and your mastery of your droll repartee doesn't strike the measurizability in me.
Okay.
But go ahead.
I was going to say about Dave Meltzer. I mean, everything in this.
Who?
Dave Meltzer.
Okay.
And his newsletter or whatever that he sends out. I've seen it a couple of times, but it seems
hasn't got a clue, this guy. But go ahead.
But everything he says in the newsletter, whatever, tends to come true. Like when he has the.
He's wrong more times than right. Yes.
Okay.
I've read it. I've got it from a couple of wrestling friends. And no, he doesn't know the inside of wrestling yet.
But then how would he get all that information? I'm just curious. I'm just curious.
He'd have to be a wrestler.
But where does he get it from? Does he make it up? Or
I think wannabe wrestlers or wrestlers that didn't get their way in professional wrestling that are very unhappy that try to knock wrestling any way they can to try.
Welcome again to the Squirrelsville's Greatest Matches. Guest Playboy Buddy Rose. I'm Brian Bennett, and we're nearing the close to the end of the program. And if you want to throw it in, you have a radio talk show in the morning, Wednesday at 6 p.m., I believe.
6 p.m.
6 a.m. Sorry about that.
6 a.m. to 7 a.m. every Wednesday morning. Sports talk, any sports, all sports. I know all sports: baseball, football, hockey. I played them all and excelled at all of them. And then professional wrestling, we talk about that too. Believe me, it's not the main topic though.
And this is like the only talk show host that is a wrestler that has lasted here.
Survived,
yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing it almost 2 years right now. It's been 2 years, weekly, every week. And any other wrestling shows that came on went real quick. Real quick.
Emphasize real quick.
Yes.
Okay.
Didn't you used to call one? You called mine, and what else did you call?
Who was that guy?
Who else had one?
What was that guy's name?
I don't know.
Was it Roddy Piper or Don Cost?
And then there was
nobody
Goofy called
Seth Morris.
Goofy Seth Morris.
We won't even give him no airplay.
I did a show with him though. I did do a show with him. He had 13.
I was with you.
I wish this was a live call-in show. This would be great if we could do this sometime. I mean, if you guys ever can. But anyway, I went on Seth's show a week after Roddy did it. Roddy had 4 calls when he was on. I was on. They had 13. They never had that many calls. I got a certificate letter from the station thanking me very much, and the most calls Really? You want me to get it? You're laughing like I'm not telling the truth.
Go get it.
No, I mean, I don't. Next time I come on, I'll bring it all. I'll bring the whole pamphlet and Okay, you don't believe me?
I was there with you.
You were sitting there by me.
Hey, the phones were ringing off the hook.
13 calls.
The guy was running on. What are we gonna do? The phone's gonna blow up.
And then all the guests he had after that, I never drew like I did.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, hey, what can I
and
say?
And he even had Captain Lou Albano on there and Classy Freddie Blassie. And
right.
Would he get 2 calls?
Right.
You know?
Well, what are all these promises that I've heard? You said you called in a couple times.
Oh,
show. What did they promise? Wrestling was going to come?
It's just a bunch of propaganda. I mean,
what
are they trying to snow people or something? I mean, I think Don Coss and Roddy Piper's intentions are good.
Yes.
They think they're generally good, but I think they're trying to put people off. You get the same people calling every week going, hey.
They were talking about the commission, professional wrestling, the commission. The commission is
Let's
locked
clear
in.
that up right now.
The commission's locked in. The powers that be are going to be there for a long, long time. The commission's the best thing that ever happened to Oregon. I didn't agree with them in the beginning. I fought them. I won. But then after that, I've agreed with everything they've done, and they are for the beneficiary part of professional wrestling, and they do help professional wrestling, and it's in the best interest as far as wrestlers and professionalism, as far as giving the people what they want.
So now that
protects the wrestlers.
Okay. So now that we have this tight forum here, let's just
the sad part about remember PCW was here.
Yeah.
PCW was gone in 3 weeks because a couple of the wrestlers screwed it up. But wasn't the promoter. A couple of the wrestlers screwed it up. And I won't associate with those wrestlers. If I'm ever having anything to do with another promotion in the future, I would let them probably wrestle with that promotion. But that's about it, you know. And if they didn't do what they were supposed to do and show up on time and fulfill their duties in that squared circle, they'd be gone, bottom line. And I won't work for any other promotions if they're here, if it's not what I like.
So, like when they say, you know, Bruce Anderson term, ends in late '95. That's not.
He's
that's
the
not
executive
true.
director, right?
That's not. Yeah.
No.
So
they don't know what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, when they call the commission, it's on Saturday. And of course, it's
kind of funny they try to call.
They're
it
like,
Saturday.
hey, we're going to really lay this guy on the line.
They got commission hearings. I've been to commission hearings in my life. I never see them there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all they do is talk, and mislead the people and what people listen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but. That's pretty sad. You have to go that route.
So basically,
actions speak louder than words, and I'm full of action.
Okay, so there is no promoter right now that has got
Nobody
a license.
is right. No, they said there's some things in the works.
They said in 3 weeks they'll have something
3
to
weeks,
talk
3
about.
weeks, it's 3 weeks.
But isn't that what they said 3 weeks ago?
3 weeks.
Yeah,
yes.
that's what they said 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
And 3 weeks before that. And
yes. When wrestling, listen to my show, and I will tell you when it'll be back.
Mm-hmm.
I will know ahead of time.
And guarantee you'll be in the main event.
Well, it depends. Like I said, if it's another promotion, if I'm not happy with it, I won't work with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but if it's what I believe in, I'll make some appearances.
Well, yeah, but
right now I'm not going to work at this time. I'm not going to miss the World Series and the playoffs. I don't do that. I stay home.
No Japan, no nothing like that. You won't
nothing right now. No, during the playoffs, I do not want to go overseas or anywhere. NBA, May Madness, no.
Okay, well, thanks for coming by. And
is it over?
Yeah,
it's already over.
It's already over, but. Next week, we're going to have Ed Moondog Moretti here.
A good buddy of mine.
Good
friend
guy.
Of
yours. And I hope you enjoyed it. I know it's been educational.
Pleasure.
It's been my pleasure. No, it's been your pleasure, buddy.
I want to thank all the cameramen, the engineer in the back, and watch KKEY 1150 AM every Wednesday from 6 to 7. And until next time, America.
See ya.
Yours truly, Playboy Buddy Rose, on what? Brian Bennett, Squared Circle interviews. Squared Circle what? Sorry, do it again. Just tell me when you're ready to go again. Sorry.
Okay.
Squared Circle's greatest matches? Sorry.
Okay, tape is still rolling.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead anytime.
Squared Circle's greatest matches. You're watching it with yours truly, Playboy Buddy Rose, hosted by who? None other than the one and only Brian Bennett. And this is me, Playboy Buddy Rose, in doll figure. You can have me this way, but you can't have me the Playboy way because the Playboy's married now. But he's here to give you all the information on Squared Circle's greatest matches with the one and only Brian Bennett. Watch it.